So I sort of left Mr. J standing there. He wasn't talking to me. I got the impression that his wife had died very young. He made it sound, or he implied that they had a home that he had built her, maybe a home to live on, and she didn't live long enough to even be able to set the home up. So he was really bitter about the fact that he had lost her. He loved her. She was young. She died. He just said a fever. That could have been anything back then. I don't know what she died of. And he wasn't really saying anything. I think his sadness and his bitterness were just like oozing off of him. And so I was able to tell that way what was going on with him. But he hated his employer. He was so angry that his employer had a wonderful life and a happy family and a young, healthy wife that he just couldn't even deal with it. So I don't know what the quartermaster thing is. I don't know if he meant like a horse, like he's the one that handled the horses, because I believe that place used to be a carriage house. I don't know, but he said quartermaster. It was very clearly quartermaster. So I don't know if he had been in the military before. Quartermaster is usually someone who handles outfitting groups of people. So I don't know. I don't know anything about that or even how horses work. So I don't know what that name is. But anyway, so we go to leave, and this entirely different thing happens. So I said that I was walking through on my way to the back when I first got there. Well, I'm about a quarter of the way through the restaurant when something entirely different walks in. So off to my right, all of a sudden, like they're coming downstairs, not coming horizontally, like she's walking downstairs, comes a woman in a black dress with a black hat, old timey, like I don't know, 1800s. And she stops about, I couldn't see stairs, but she was coming at an angle. She stops and she looks at me and she very genteelly goes, and then turns around and goes back through the wall. I can't make this shit up. So we leave. We go home. We do the clearing to get rid of him. I don't usually go to these things in person. If they're local, if I'm working with a realtor, I'll go and do a clearing on site. But most of the actual work to remove entities happens in meditation, which is where things are most effective. That's where my guide does his work, and I can see what's going on. It's harder for me to do that in person than it is to do it in a journey. So all of that's done. Probably a shortcoming on my part, but that's okay. We get it done. So he left pretty easily. He still had zero regard for me as a woman, but he totally had respect for my guide, who was another man and was definitely not going to take any of his crap. So he left. I was really hoping that his wife, I would get some sense of her as he was crossing. Never picked up on her. So hopefully he found her on the other side, or he was able to find something to keep him there. Sometimes with aggressive spirits like this, it's hard to make them leave. It's not impossible, but by hard to make them leave, I mean doing it nicely on the first pass doesn't always work. Most of the time it does, not always. So every once in a while we'll have to go back and do a second pass and actually like force them to go, which isn't what I prefer to do. And it's made very clear to them that they have a choice to go the first time. Second time they will not have a choice. They will be made to go if they're hurting people. So backstory, I finally learned what was going on. There were people who worked in the restaurant, mainly women and gay men, who were being shoved by this man, physically interacting with them. So that's assault. If you shove another living person, you have assaulted them. If a dead person shoves you, that too is also assault. So, yeah, they're not allowed to do that stuff. So he crossed. I stayed in touch with the restaurant manager for a couple of weeks afterward to make sure that they felt like things were resolved, no more issues. She stated that she felt like things were fine in the restaurant. They weren't having any more of the issues down in the dungeon, like they used to call the cellar, and that everybody felt like they were safe. So, problem solved.